Welcome to Lighting for Profits.
All light, all light, all light.
Powered by Emery Allen.
Get rid of your excuses.
Your number one source for all things landscape lighting.
That's where the magic can happen. You can really scale a business.
We really had to show up for each other.
From lighting design, install, sales, and marketing.
You're a scaredy cat salesman, Kurt.
We discuss everything you need to know to start and grow a successful landscape lighting business.
What do you think a hippo has to do with your business, Ryan?
Usually it's some weird childhood thing. Some bully kicks your butt.
I think the key factor here is trust.
Here is your host, Ryan Lee.
All light, all light, all light. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the number one landscape lighting show in Lehi, Utah. Yeah, it's still the only landscape lighting show in Lehi, Utah, but we're rolling with it. I'm excited. I love this show, you guys. I don't know how, I don't know why, but I get to meet with some amazing people. We've got an awesome show lined up for you today. If you're looking to start or grow a landscape lighting business, you're definitely in the right place. So just as a reminder, we're here to educate and motivate to help you dominate. So this is going to be a great show. We got Mr. Ryan Fenn, the CEO, the founder of CHIIRP. And if you are not usually using automation in your business, you're missing out. And we're going to talk about some of the easiest things that you can do to gain leverage in your business. And leverage is something that is the most overlooked thing, but also the easiest thing to do in your business. So you guys know I'm all about helping you make more money and buying back more time and getting freedom from your business. So this is going to be an excellent episode. Ryan Fenn with CHIIRP coming on in just a few minutes. And guys, by the way, it's not too late. Light It Up Expo is this week. If you want to get your tickets, get them now. It's literally in a couple days. So go to lightitupexpo.com. If you're looking to bolt on landscape lighting, holiday lighting, or permanent lighting, just come. It's it. We're here in Orlando. Come down. Let's go. Let's change your life. I want to see you here. And again, we're going to have Ryan on in just a few minutes. But, one of my favorite quotes, you guys, is by Henry Ford. And he said, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. And like, gosh, I can hear that like 10 times a day. And it just makes me think. And like, I love that quote. I'm trying to come up with a quote. I want to be remembered for generations. And one day people will say, there was this guy named Ryan Lee, and he used to say, right? So this one's definitely not as good as Henry Ford's, but it is something I believe in, and something that I really want to come true for everyone. So are you ready? Are you ready for my quote? Go to work because you want to, not because you have to. All right. It sounds kind of elementary, but here's what I mean by this. This is like most of us as entrepreneurs, we started our business for what? Like usually it's like, well, we're sick of working for someone else. We wanted to create our own dream. We wanted to have freedom, right? We wanted to control our own schedule. But as you know, most of us started our business. We just kind of started another job, and we go to work not because we want to, but because we have to. Like we create all these problems, and then it's like, oh man, if I don't go to work, like no money's going to come in, and we're going to have to file bankruptcy or go get a job. And so most of us just work for ourselves. We're just self-employed. And honestly, I think being self-employed is like the worst thing ever. It's worse than being employed, because think about it. Like when you start your own business, you take on all the risk, all the responsibility. You're usually a terrible boss to yourself. At least your first business, sometimes your first two businesses, you work crazy hours. You don't get time off. You don't get vacations. You don't get benefits. And it just doesn't sound appealing, right? So instead of freedom, you get the opposite. And now you're trapped in your business. And it all stems from one thing. If you knew what the one thing is, wouldn't you want to solve that? Like if you could eliminate some of these things and solve these problems, what is the one thing? Well, in my opinion, it comes down to profitability. Most people, most businesses simply can't afford to replace themselves. They're not making enough money to build and grow a business. Because if you had more money in your bank, let's just say an investor came to you and said, hey, I'm going to give you $1 million. But the cool thing is I'm not going to take any equity. Like if you just had more money, what would you do with it? Like what could you do to get some more freedom, to get the things that you really wanted out of it, right? Well, you could hire better team members. You could overpay instead of underpay. You could use better products. You could take your time. You could perform better work. You get more referrals because you'd be doing a better job, right? And you could finally afford to invest in a better brand. Some people are like really, really good. I know them personally. Like they're great technicians, they're great designers. Their brands kind of suck. You could afford to advertise. You could afford to promote yourself and tell more people, tell the world about you. So here's the trick. Okay. You want more money, you want more profitability, which will then allow you to buy back your time and grow into your dream business. This is all you have to do. So there's a couple steps. And this is how you go to work because you want to, not because you have to. Yeah, this guy, Ryan Lee, he used to say it all the time. I'm starting the trend, you guys. First, here's what you got to do. Step one, imagine your dream business. You can do this right now, okay? If you're driving, don't close your eyes, but just imagine your dream business. What does it look like? Who is doing the installs? Who's doing the sales? Who's answering the phones? Who's handling the customer service? How many trucks do you have? What does your brand look like? How do your clients feel after working with you? How do they feel? Really take the time to daydream a little bit, okay? And don't just daydream, write this stuff down. Okay, these are just a handful of questions I put together today, but there's a lot. Like, get specific on the details. What does your dream business look like? Write these things down. How much revenue? How much profitability does your business have? And what is your role in the business now? In your dream business? If you had unlimited money and you could be the architect and build this to where your dream really is, and most of us have not done this, right? How many hours are you working each week and what are you doing? How much vacation time do you take each week? How much vacation time? Sorry, I guess that was each month. Maybe you are taking, 5 days vacation each week. I don't know. This is your dream. It's not mine. What does your relationship look like with your team members? What does your relationship look like with your spouse and your kids? After you've spent time dreaming and writing down all these details, now you know what you want. Most people don't know what they want. They haven't ever really done this exercise. And maybe you've thought about it, you've dreamt about it, but have you written it down? Have you really gotten specific on all the details and been the architect of your dream business? And by now you might be thinking, well, yeah, but I don't dream about it because I don't even know how I could do that. I couldn't afford to do all that. And it's probably true. You probably can't afford it. Okay. Because in your current state, you can't build your dream business. If you could, you would have already done it. So this is why you need to start pricing your services like who you want to be, not like who you are today. You see, you start pricing like who you want to be, not like who you are today. And that is a lesson that took me a very, very long time to learn. I started off doing it the wrong way. I was like, well, I don't have the overhead. I could charge whatever I want. I don't have the overhead of those big companies. So my value proposition was, I'll give you a better price and better service. And that might have been true at first, but and today it's probably true for you. Like, you don't have to do that. But if you stay stuck in that mindset, your dream business will never come true. All those things that you dreamt about and wrote down can never happen if you don't start pricing like who you want to be. So this is the day. Today's the day that you get to start living your dream. Okay. You get to start building your dream empire. So calculate. Now that you know, okay, I'm going to need this person in place, a couple of people doing sales, probably need some technicians, not someone else to answer the phone. Maybe I need a general manager, whatever it is. Don't be afraid to dream big. Like, this is your plan and you get to be the architect. So calculate, what is it going to cost you to run your dream business? And if it's $4,000 a day in overhead, then that's the number. Like, don't lie to yourself. Don't cheat yourself. Now you know what it's going to cost you to build your dream business. And this will support you in your endeavors when you come up with your pricing. And when someone asks you for a deal, maybe it's okay to give your first person a deal, right? But after a while, you can hold your ground and know that you can't afford to do this. Otherwise, you'll never be able to live your dream business. So add in all those future salaries. If you're like, well, I don't have a salesperson right now, I do the sales. Well, is that your dream? Do you want to do sales every day? Do you not want to take vacation? Do you want a second salesperson? Whatever those future vehicles cost, equipment, if you don't have a shop and you're going to get one, whatever it is, I'm telling you, put this in there. I wish someone would have done a podcast episode on this and sent it to me. Send this to your friends. Because this would have changed everything for me. And it did once I realized, but it was like 10 years later that I realized all this stuff. So price like who you want to be, not like who you are today. And who knows, maybe one day you'll wake up and go to work because you want to, not because you have to. So your future self will thank you. And hopefully one day you'll thank me. I'm doing this because I care about you. I want you to succeed, and it's possible. I'm living proof of it. Okay, and I've got people that are way ahead of me, and I'm trying to get to that next level. I've mapped out my dream business, and I know what it takes. So I'm grinding to get to that point too. So, all right, guys. Real quick, we're gonna have Ryan Fenn on in just literally a couple minutes now, CEO of CHIIRP. But real quick, oh yeah. Got to thank Emery Allen. Hey, listen, what's the best way to stand out of the crowd? Well, being different. Set yourself apart from others in the lighting industry and impress your customers by installing Emery Allen bulbs on your next project. You'll discover a higher level of quality across the board, from the bulbs themselves to the top-tier customer support you can expect to get. If you have any questions or issues, right now is the best time to make the switch. And here's the deal, guys. Don't go to their website. Just email Tom G at emeryallen.com. He's going to hook you up with the best possible discounted contractor pricing. All you have to do is email Tom G at emeryallen.com. Mention that you heard about him here on Lighting for Profits, and he'll hook you up. So email Tom G at emeryallen.com. Oh, guys, it's time. I hope you're ready. I know I am. We do this show because I get to hang out with amazing guests. I get to pick the brains of very successful people, and we get to kind of learn about their stories and about their products and the things that they've learned along the way. So if you're ready, let me know in the comments. I know I am. Let's go. Let's get the guests coming in here, huh? All right, welcome to the show, Mr. Ryan Fenn. What's up, Ryan?
Hey, Ryan, how are you, man?
Dude, my life is pretty good right now. Thanks for asking. Thanks for joining me on the show.
Hey, mine too. Mine's pretty good right now too.
It must be a Ryan thing. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, happy to be here, man. Happy to be here.
More people should change their name to Ryan. It just works out for you, you know. Well, I'm stoked to have you on here. Selfishly, I love doing the show because I get to meet and hang out with awesome people and successful people and people that are leveling up their lives. And I'm like, dude, what's your secrets? And it's awesome. So if you would,
I'm excited to be here. Super happy, grateful. Thanks for having me.
Heck yeah, man, I'm excited. Well, do me a favor, just a quick introduction. You know, you and I have got to know each other a little bit, but introduce yourself to our audience and tell us who Ryan Fenn is.
Yeah, so thanks everybody for listening to the podcast today. Like Ryan said, my name is also Ryan Fenn. I'm the CEO here at CHIIRP. Started this company going on 7 years now, but have really seen some massive growth in the last 3. It's been quite a ride. How far back do you want me to go, Ryan? You want me to tell the whole story? Where are we going with this?
Yeah, what year were you born? No, I would say, you know, I just have gotten to know you a little bit. Talk to us about let's go pre-CHIIRP. Okay.
Pre-CHIIRP. Yeah.
And then I definitely want to get into CHIIRP because you guys have some epic stuff that's going to help our listeners. But talk about your first business. When did you decide to start being self-employed?
Self-employed, right? So yeah, I've always been entrepreneurial. I sold gumballs in 4th grade. That was my first business.
Just don't tell the IRS.
Yeah. Did really well with that. No, I like I said, I've always been entrepreneurial. I've always been kind of a sales guy. I've been selling stuff. I didn't finish high school. Just kind of went straight for just like selling and selling stuff. And I started my first like success, what I would consider a successful business, when my first son Maddox was born about 13, 14 years ago. And I started a windshield repair business. So, you know, you're driving down the freeway, a rock hits your windshield, puts a small chip in it. We would fix that so it wouldn't spread and force you to have to replace the whole windshield. And I used to do that. I would do that door to door for a while. And
really, you did that door to door?
Yeah, I'd sell it door to door. That was how I started. And then I saw some guys down in California doing it at a gas station. And I thought, man, that seems like a steady flow of leads, people coming in to get gas. So instead of going door to door, I set up at a gas station. What I would do is, as cars would come in to get gas, I would go up. You ever watch like the old TV shows or old movies where they have like the old timey gas stations where you pull in and like the service guys would run out, like check your tires, check your oil, do all this stuff.
I've been to a place like that. It was like 15 years ago, but I was like, what's happening?
Hey, maybe it was where I was working, but I was trying to recreate that kind of vibe. And so you'd come in and we'd come up to your car and just say, thanks for coming in to get gas. We're just washing everybody's windshields as a courtesy today. And we'd wash the windshield for them. And if they had a chip on the windshield, we would just say, hey, by the way, you have a chip right here. And if you're interested, we can fix it right over there at our little tent. And we would there's days we'd make like $1,000 out of one gas station fixing chips and windshields, and did pretty well with that. And then we got invited into a dealership. Toyota dealership invited us in to start working out of like their service drive. And then eventually we're in like 9 dealerships and doing pretty good. And then I got the idea to start a digital marketing, a digital course, an online course on how to start and grow your own windshield repair business, kind of like lighting for profits, right? And I started this course in 2014, and I started selling it using Facebook ads. So I generate leads for Facebook, and then I would text the leads as they would come in, and I would text them and say, hey, my name is Ryan. I'm the owner of this company, and I'd love to show you more. Here's a video that explains the opportunity. They'd go to the video, book a call, and we'd close deals. Made a couple $1 million selling that course all through this text messaging process. And that's really how I got the idea to start CHIIRP. And so, after I sold a bunch of that and just said, man, if this works so well for me, the sales process, this kind of funnel that I had developed, probably work for other businesses as well. And that's how CHIIRP was born. So there's a short story of short representation of it. So
yeah, I love the timeline. I love the evolution, let's stay there for a second, because I have so many people that reach out to me that are wanting to get into landscape lighting or start their own business or whatever. And they have so many questions and they gather so much information. And I'm like, dude, Ryan, you just told us, you just went and knocked doors. Like, could you have started in a gas station? Yeah. Could you have started in dealerships? Like, you just knocked doors. Like, and that led you to the next thing, which led you to the next thing. Like, I think that actually people think they need information, but we kind of already know everything we need, at least right now. I mean, I'm constantly learning, reading books, going to seminars, stuff like that, coaches. But like, too many times people just get stuck in their own head.
Oh, for sure. And that's probably the number one problem with entrepreneurs, is that analysis paralysis, or that, and that's, to me, it's not that you don't need the knowledge. It's whether or not you're doing everything you can with the knowledge you already have and doing something with that.
Well said.
All I knew was I needed customers, and I knew that people go door to door, and that didn't cost me anything. I could go door to door right now. And so it was like, I'm taking the information that I have and doing the most with it. And as a religious person, I kind of think that that's kind of what's expected of us, where you do what you can with what you have, and then more will be shown to you as you go. And if you're open to that, then you're going to figure out ways to go. But if you're just sitting around waiting, nothing's ever going to come. Nothing's going to happen. So you have to do everything you can with what you have, and then more will be shown to you as you go. So
that's freaking epic, man. I hope people like replay that a couple times, because seriously, like, I think a lot of people hear, oh yeah, well, I want to get into windshield repair. So, but 9 dealerships. So they're already thinking of all the different ways to get to there. And that's pretty complicated. Like, that just sounds like a lot of work. Whereas, like, just go knock the door.
Yeah.
Like,
get your first one. Yeah.
Ask your uncle, like somebody, in your cell phone right now has a cracked windshield. I promise.
Yep. I want to make $100,000 a month. Well, make 1,000, and then let's work on 100. But yeah, it's like, just do what you can with what you got. Just go. It's like, I remember, it's funny because you're local, so I can talk. Is the guy who built the University Mall? So there's a mall here in Utah, the University Mall. It's been here a long time. But the guy that built it, I remember listening to him speak one time. he said, I'm the guy that would look at a mountain and go, I'm going to climb that mountain. And then I would start walking towards the mountain. And then along the way, I'm going to figure out how to cross the river and how to climb that hill and how to do this and how to do that. But I'm going to look at the mountain. I'm going to start walking. Whereas a lot of people are going to look at the mountain. They're going to go, okay, now we need to figure out how we're going to cross that river. We're going to figure out this. We're going to do this. And they never actually take that first step. And it's like, man, that to me really rang true. Is like, just look at the mountain, the 9 dealerships, whatever it is, look at it and go, okay, I'm going to get there. Let's take the first step. What's the first step? And just go. So.
Yeah, well said. So once you started to grow that business, you said you got into dealerships. Now all of a sudden I'm assuming you weren't the technician at all of those. Did you start to hire people at this point?
Yeah, exactly. So we'd start to, scale the business where the idea was we'd have a person at each location doing the repair. So we got to where we had like 9 locations, 9 or 10. And we had more than that guys, because there would be like shifts and stuff that they could be there. So, yeah.
Okay, so it's pretty magical, because it's evolution. Then you start texting leads, which I haven't ran Facebook ads like personally for probably 5 years now, I guess, or whatever.
Yeah.
But even back then, it was like pretty clunky. Like you would think, like if you get a lead, Facebook has it set up to just send it to you. It's like, no, it stays stuck in the ether, and then you have to get like a list from there and an automation even sent to you at that point. So
still now today,
is it still like that? Okay, so you would figure that out somehow, how to even get those. Like some people don't even know how to get the leads,
right?
So you'd figure out that plus the texting and stuff, which is cool. And I just love it because you weren't born knowing, you know what, I'm going to start a software company one day,
right?
And it's going to do automation, and we're going to call it CHIIRP, and then we're going to grow, and it's going to be epic. Like you had to do these other things to get to there. And I think about my life the same way. It's like, I didn't know I was going to start Landscape Lighting Secrets. I didn't even know what a business coach was 5 years ago,
Right.
That wasn't my like life's calling when I was 2 years old. I was just supposed to do those other things to prepare me here. So it's really cool, man. I hope people get inspired by what you've done, because I look at you now and I'm like, dude, the world is yours, man. You're in such a good spot. You're helping all these home service companies that the growth of the home service industries over these next 10 years is going to be insane. And they need good partners. They need good people like you to help them provide better service and all those things. So you're here for a reason, man.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And it goes back to what we've been talking about up to this point is, you look at people and you go, how did you get that idea to start that? It's because I was in it. I was in doing things and I was going. I coined this phrase a long time ago. I call it the dumb doer. And the dumb doer is not necessarily a dumb person, but they approach things in a purposefully dumb way. Just going, okay, I don't know anything about this. I'm just gonna go. What do I do? And you just start, and you don't overanalyze. You don't think about anything. You just go. You've probably met people in your life that are like balling hard, right? Like making tons of money, doing really well, and you have a conversation with them, and you're like, you're not exceptionally smart.
Exactly.
You're not like you kind of scratch your head and go, wait a second, and it's just because they just go. I've had the privilege of meeting a lot of really successful people, and I wouldn't say that brilliance is like the overwhelming like characteristic among these people. Although I've met brilliant people that have done really well. I'm not disparaging that by any means, but it's not a matter of whether or not you're brilliant. It's a matter of whether or not you're willing to go. And what you said earlier with Henry Ford is like, whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, that's the answer, right? That's what it is. And so it's just a matter of just going, just go. And I'm going to beat that dead horse, but yeah, go.
I love it. Well, let's talk about CHIIRP. So you had this, you were already using like the idea, just a more manual version of it. So you're like, yeah, well, let's build this to solve our problem. Then you're like, wait, we could solve the problem for others. What were some of those first few automations and problems you were solving for yourself and other business owners?
Well, you just said it. The Facebook ads software is pretty complex and difficult. It's not like you can just go in and generate leads and get business. You have to understand that software and setting up those ads and how to get those leads extracted out. Facebook has a really cool function called Facebook lead ads, and not a lot of people. And to this day, I've preached about this. I've generated hundreds of thousands of leads through the Facebook lead ad platform, and to this day, and I've preached about it over and over. People are still like, "Oh, I didn't know. I don't use that. I've never heard of it." It is like it takes away so many steps of building a digital marketing funnel that it's insane. So basically, what it is it's a full lead generation funnel built within Facebook. It's been like this since I started in 2014, and people are still going, "Oh, this new cool lead platform. It's been around forever." But what it is you set up an ad on Facebook. Somebody sees that ad, and traditionally you would click on that and it would take you to your website or to a landing page for you to then capture that lead, right? But the way that Facebook has it, if you use this function, is when you click on it, a form pops up on Facebook. They don't even leave Facebook. A form pops up and it's populated with their information already that Facebook has. So it's good data because they verify your phone number and your email and everything. So it's your name, phone number, email, and any other questions you want to ask. And then you submit, you click submit and say, yes, I'm interested in this thing. And you hit submit. Now a lead is generated and you own that lead. You have a name, a phone number, and an email, and it goes into the Facebook platform. And it sits there until you do something with that lead, right? So Facebook did its job. Facebook's like, hey, we advertised your product and we got you a name, a phone number, and an email in this spreadsheet. We did our job. Now you do what you need to do to make money with that information, right? And most people don't know at that point what to do. And that's why they say, oh, these Facebook leads suck. And the problem is they're not capturing that data and starting a conversation with that lead. What we do, the very first thing, we now have tons and tons of automations, but the very first thing we did was capture those leads automatically, pull them into CHIIRP, and start a text message conversation with that lead. So imagine this, Ryan, you're on Facebook, you're scrolling through, whatever. It's, let's use Christmas lighting. So it's November. You're scrolling through and there's an ad that says we can install Christmas lights on your house. And I click the button and it comes up with your name and phone number. I click it again and that's it. And now you as a business owner are in a text message conversation with that person who was sitting in their bed a minute earlier scrolling through Facebook. That's really, really powerful when somebody actually understands what you're able to do. The fact that you're able to be in a conversation with a potential client within 2 clicks and them having never heard of you is really, 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 really powerful if you know what to do with it. Before advertising, I mean, think of how many steps somebody have to go through in your advertising to get you on the phone and to actually have a conversation. 2 clicks and I'm in a conversation with a lead. That's pretty awesome. And that's what we figured out to do with those leads. And that was the first evolution. That was the first product that we started selling with CHIIRP.
Yeah, 2 clicks and almost 2 seconds, because most people that aren't doing that, they have that lead and they're like, no, I call them quick. I'm like, oh, how fast? Well, yeah, I mean, we call them the next day. We call them right away. First things first, next day around noon.
Yeah.
So talk about the importance of getting back to someone quick, because like you said, they're scrolling. They weren't looking for holiday lighting, Christmas lights. They were literally just bored out of their minds scrolling so they don't have to talk to their kids or something.
Yeah.
They clicked 2 buttons. They weren't in buying mode. Talk about why it's so important to engage with them via text so quickly.
Well, this is what we would call a top of funnel lead, right? This is somebody that has not done any research. This is somebody that has not thought about buying this. Maybe they have, maybe they haven't, but generally speaking, disruptive marketing where we're interrupting their process. They're not searching for you. This is a top of funnel lead, and it takes nurturing just like you would a very, very the very start of a plant that's growing or a tree that's growing out of the ground. You can go to the landscaper and buy this is good. This will be a good analogy for landscape guys. I can go buy a tree that's nurtured and already started and plant that in my yard. And I don't have to take as much care of it as I would a seedling, right? Because it's already mature. That would be a more nurtured lead, like a search lead, like a Google search lead or something where they've actually gone through the process. we're at the very beginning stages of marketing. And so we've just started it. And if we don't capture their attention and then maintain and hold that attention, we're going to lose that seedling is going to die. And so studies show form fills across the board. If somebody's filling out a form and requesting information, if we don't reach out and connect with them within about a minute of them submitting, we have a very low chance of converting that lead. So if even somebody says, I get to them within 5 minutes, they are dramatically behind. And we have a chart that shows it at 1 minute, you have your best chance. And then by minute 2, it's like the chart drops dramatically because people have these amazingly short attention spans, and then they're getting worse with, Reels and TikTok and all stuff. It's only a few years old. It's only, COVID era stuff. And even that's got our attentions just destroyed. Our attention spans destroyed. Like our entertainment, if we don't get our entertainment in a minute, like we're out. Like how many people now sit down and watch the sitcoms and we'll sit through commercial breaks and so it's like, no way. No. And so, yeah. And so we have just this little tiny window to get somebody's attention, capture it and maintain it long enough to turn them into an actual lead. So speed to lead, contacting leads within a minute, that should be a KPI you are heavily focused on. People will focus, they'll spend a lot of money on advertising. And like you said, they'll go, yeah, I'd call them right away within 24 hours. It's like, dude, they don't even remember filling out the form. They're in a whole other world. They're like, oh, dude, HVAC guy, I already have a whole system installed by the time you called me.
Yeah. Well, we have clients that say that. Like they say they don't even remember doing it. I think these are fake leads. I'm like, no, they hit a button. It was just a button though. They didn't. You got to understand it. Like I love your analogy of the top of funnel and the seedling and the tree, and that's perfect. So once they come through, you have that conversation. What is that conversation like to kind of create intrigue, create interest? How do you start warming them up?
Well, in each scenario, it's going to be different because you're gauging where they're at in the funnel. Like if you're talking about a Google lead that somebody's going on your website platform, that's going to be a different conversation than somebody that you're disrupting their day. And so the message has to match the original ad. So you need to be congruent along the way. So if you're doing an offer in the ad, you need to reinforce that offer in that first message. Hey, I'm glad you reached out about our 10% discount on Christmas light installs. I'd love to get you on the schedule. What city is your home in? These and you want to start with like a basic, non-intrusive question. You don't want to be like, what's your social security number? Right? It's like dating, right? You don't want to be like, hey, you want to get married? It's like, hey, let's go out to dinner. And so you start with a non-intrusive question. What city is your home in? And this is just to get a response. Another really good one that we've tested lately. In fact, I just got a lead on Facebook as we're talking.
Breaking news live as it's happening. What's up?
The text that goes out to them is, hey, it's Ryan with whatever I'm advertising. Let's use these. Hey, it's Ryan with Landscape Light. Thanks for reaching out about our 10% discount. I wanted to verify that you're a real person. That's actually a really good question because it's like, well, all we're trying to do is get a response from them so that there's a comfort in engaging and having it. And we've established that two people are now communicating, right? And they'll usually go, yeah, I'm a real person. Oh, perfect. Great. I'm glad you asked me about the 10% discount. We'd love to get you going. What city is your home in? Draper. Okay, great. How's tomorrow at 2:00? And you then nurture them into a appointment. That's what we're trying to accomplish first, is that initial appointment. And depending on your sales process, like what is it? Is it an estimate? Is it like, for us, we want to schedule an appointment. Whatever you're trying to accomplish, we're trying to close at the highest level. We're not trying to close the deal. We're trying to close an appointment. And the appointment's where we'll try to close a deal, right? So you close at the highest level possible. The first one is, can I just establish that you're a real person and actually have a conversation with you?
Love that. Yeah, you're selling the thing that sells the thing. So It's an appointment. A lot of people in landscape lighting are like, well, I don't know that I want to go out there. I mean, I got to find out more about them. So it could be just selling a phone call. Like, hey, let's get on a call. Is next Tuesday or Thursday, or is the next 5 minutes good?
Well, yeah. And what you do there and what people complain about, like, well, I went out to that job and I wasted my time on this job. And then you start to go, well, okay, let's start filtering leads. But we first need to, we have to learn that manually first. We can't start filtering until we've gone through the steps, like you said, going out. And then you start to go, okay, for example, I'll give you an example. When I was doing the course, I'd get hundreds of leads. And it's like, if I spent time on the phone with every single one of these leads, I couldn't make money because my time would just be eaten up. So then we started to book the appointments, and we'd start to go, okay, I had 10 appointments today. 6 were good, 4 were no good. Well, how could we have gotten rid of those 4 before we wasted our time with them? Okay, well, what if when they book, we ask a couple of questions? Are you willing to invest to start a business? Like kind of trying to weed out like the stuff. But you can't do that until you've done the hard part and wasted some time figuring out who's who. And I don't like to say it's wasting time because you're gathering data. But then you can add these filters along the customer journey to make a better appointment. And that can be, like I said, friction in the funnel that we're adding, where you go, all right, cool, everybody's booking. I got 10 booked appointments. 4 of them were no good. All right, let's add this question that says, are you willing to do this? Or are you going to show up on the call? And like just add a little bit of friction to the funnel to weed those ones out. And then eventually you have this dialed funnel that every appointment coming out the end is a qualified good appointment.
Yeah, I like that. I think some people get fed up too early, and so they apply that friction. Like I've gone on some people's websites, and their form is like a 26 question survey. And I'm like, dude, you're going to filter out a very high qualified lead,
right?
Because they're not going to fill out the 26 essay thing. Like, just get the name, get the phone number, get them on the phone, and then you can kind of, pre-qualify.
Exactly. And people, as they invest into the process, they'll be willing to give you more information. But if you present them with a huge form, they're going to freak out. That's why you'll see these new, these forms where it's like, what's your name? And then it goes to like
one at a time.
And then they're not overwhelmed. And then as they get more and more engaged and more invested, they're more willing to give more information. But you can't do that until you've tested everything out, and you start manually and work backwards from there.
Okay, so this is awesome. I get fired up when I talk about this stuff, because I can't tell you, I bet 100% of my clients and people who want to be my client, if I ask them like, what do you need help with right now? Well, maybe it's 99%. They all say the same thing. I need more leads.
Yep.
And I'm like, are you sure? Like, like, how many more leads do you need? Because if you just kept the same number of leads and just applied the one thing that you and I just talked about, don't you think that you're going to have a higher conversion, and you're not going to have as much of a lead problem as you think? You have a profitability problem, not a lead problem. And so, I'm big on pricing and sales and stuff like that. But like this one automation that you solved, it sounds kind of simple when we're talking about it, but it's not at all. This is literally, if you could just add one extra, like in landscape lighting, an average ticket's like $8,000 to $12,000. So let's just say 10 grand. If this one thing just added one extra deal a month, we're talking 120 grand in revenue just from this one automation. Like, and that's not crazy to say. I mean, it could be more than that, right? I'm just trying to be conservative here. Like if this,
and think of that, adding those multiple different steps along the way, and looking at your actual funnel and going, okay, where can I improve my lead conversion? Because that's what we talk about at CHIIRP is lead conversion. And you look, you're marketing, you're spending all this money on ads, and people go, I just need more leads, and their close rate is terrible. But they go, well, yeah, if I had more leads, I'd get more sales because the math shakes out because, I have a close rate of X. It's like, well, let's say your close rate is, 40%. This could be 10%, it could be 8%, whatever. But let's just say 40%. Your close rate's not 40%. Your non-closed rate is 60%. You have 60% opportunity to improve. And until you get to 100%, you have room to improve. Nobody is there. And so nobody has an excuse to not improve their funnel. I'll give you an example. Tommy Mello, if you guys have heard of this guy, he's been on. Yeah, he's been on the show. He is the man, right? He's got the biggest garage door company in the world. And, we were just at I was just at A1 last week. Over the last few months, we've implemented abandoned call follow-ups where if they miss a call, a text goes out immediately to that lead to try to get them to book. That did $800,000 in December from a guy who you would think, oh, he's got it all figured out. He's got it all dialed in. And it's like, no, even he is looking for ways to improve. So if you're thinking, oh, I just need more leads, and you don't have 100% booking rate, you of course you want more leads, and you need to be always filling the funnel with new leads, but you also need to be spending time on improving your conversion process.
Dude, there's so many different layers to this, and we're not going to have time today to go through all the automations CHIIRP does, but you just improve the first one by 10% and then the next one by 10%. It's just like compounding effect. I was in a tree one time, new in business. I was doing the maintenance because our install team was busy, which was awesome because I was doing sales and they couldn't do maintenance. So I'm in there changing a bulb. I miss a phone call. I call the lady back about 45 minutes later, maybe an hour later. Not a big deal. It's just an hour. You're thinking 60 seconds, bro.
Yeah, that's it. It's over.
So I call her back. Super nice lady. My business was in Texas. She's from Dallas, Southern hospitality. Super nice. I couldn't even hate her. I was trying to hate her. I couldn't. She's like, oh, you know what? We're good. We already got a hold of someone else. They're coming out tomorrow to give us a quote. I'm like, yeah, but no worries. I can come out. Heck, I'll come out right now. We're good. As long as they're good, we're going to go with them. I was like, what? Like, I was so mad, and I wasn't really mad at her. I was mad at myself. Yeah. And at the time, our average job was only $5,000, but still, I was like, okay, I'm just going to go home and tell my wife that we didn't make $5,000 today because I was in a tree doing what I was supposed to do, serving my client at the highest level.
Exactly.
And then it was like, well, wait a minute. What about the last job that I didn't? I called people back all the time. They never answered the phone. They weren't nice like this lady. So it's like 5, 10, 15. It was $60,000 just in quick math in my head in the last couple months. So you talk about abandoned call. Is that what you called it?
Yeah, abandoned call follow-up. Yeah.
Dude, that would have helped make me an extra $800,000.
You can't. It's amazing. A text will go out. Look, you're trying to block them, right? Because they're going to go to the next guy.
As soon as they hang up,
block them. And so you send this text, and it says, "Hey, I'm so sorry I missed your call." You could say if I'm up in a tree, something funny like that. I'm up in a tree taking care of one of my customers. I will get back to you as soon as I get out of the tree. Or you can click here to book right here. And they'll click and book. They're like 90%, like I think it's like 80 or 90%. Aaron Gaynor with Eco Plumbers did like 300K his first week with that. And 90% of them just clicked and booked without any more follow-up after that. So that lady would have got the text and appreciated that you were busy. Yeah. Because you would have said, hey, I'm up in a tree. And then she would have booked and you would have got the $5,000, So
that's so good. Huge. Gosh, I love it. I think I would probably use that line. I like it. Sounds good. I'm up in a tree.
Anything like that. And you got to think in terms of authenticity, right? You want to sound like a human being. Hey, I'm so sorry. I'm up in a tree right now helping a customer.
That's awesome.
Perfect. It's perfect. Yeah. And that's like kind of jogs them a little bit,
Oh, that's so cool, man. All right. So we already have 2 really good ones. What are a few other, let's talk about a couple other automations that are.
So speed to lead, abandoned call follow-up, just lead follow-up in general. So if they don't book and let's say they do fill out the form, they don't answer your phone call, they don't answer the text, we're going to drip over a period of time, over like a 2-week period to try to get them to book. Drip text messages, emails, voicemails. Estimate follow-ups is like just money in the bank. We have guys that are just like, oh, their attitude is so crazy to me when they go, oh, if I gave them an estimate, if they want it, they'll call me back. It's like, dude, that's not sales. That you're not a salesperson. You're just hoping that something will happen. And
they're an order taker. If that's
they're happening. An order taker. Yeah. You're not a skilled salesperson yet. Not to insult you, we can get you there. But like how cliche is the phrase, the fortune is in the follow-up, and sales guys think that they're the best because they can close at the highest rate. And it's like, actually the guys that follow up consistently are the ones that make the most money, generally speaking. There are some guys that can really kill the first. They're the top of the top closers that can close every deal. But if you can consistently follow up with your leads, you don't have to be that killer one call, one close kind of guy. You can have similar close rates by utilizing automation to automatically follow up after an estimate goes out. Hey, sent you that estimate yesterday. We just want to make sure you got it. If you have any questions, I'm here to answer them. A couple days later, hey, you know what? I understand that this could be a burden financially. I'd like to offer you a financing offer. We have some great financing options, or you can say something like, I want to work you in. If I could get you 10% off, would that be interesting to you? And you don't have to offer discounts. There's just ways you can do things, but consistently following up those estimates. We have guys coming in from garage doors, from all these different places that are going, dude, I have 6 months of open estimates. I haven't done anything. I put them into a follow-up campaign. I had one guy, I just thought of him, Alex Yohankton, is Rise and Shine Garage Doors. He closed $50,000 in garage doors from the past 6 months of open estimates that he hadn't done anything with. They were just sitting there. Yeah.
You're making me want to start another outdoor lighting business because it just makes it so easy. I'm like having these like flashbacks because I was trying to be the cold hard closer and the follow-up guy, but you just don't have time, And so what I would do, when things are great, and you're usually not following up because you're like, dude, I'm rich.
Boring.
Sold 200,000, I'm going to make 10 grand a night. Yeah. And so like what if you were following up? And so I would follow up, when it dipped. And I would go back and manually have to do all this stuff. And I would close deals. I would like, dude, people would be like, yeah, you know what? We actually really liked you, but we hated your price. I'm like, well, I've heard that before. And they're like, but you know what? We can't get a hold of anyone else. And we've appreciated your voicemails the last 6 months and you following up. And I'm like, holy freaking cow. Like they told me they didn't want to go with me, but they're going with me,
Yep.
And you're just talking and I'm like, oh my gosh, like this could have already just been happening in the background.
Yep. We have guys all the time. They'll be like, I have a 6-month campaign where if they don't convert, then I'll put them into a follow-up campaign that just follows up like a couple times a year, like every 6 months. And they'll be like, every now and then one will respond and be like, hey, you know what? Yeah, we do want to do that. And it's like that lead would have been gone and you never would have heard from them again. But you spent a penny to follow up with them on a text message every 6 months and you kept it going and you got a deal out of it. And like you said, you can't do both. You can't be the top closer and super busy and all of, constantly meet with people and also consistently following up. And that's the magic of automation.
That's so good. When people join my program, I try to get them a quick win. Like, let's just pay for the whole program, like in one conversation type thing. And even before that, I try on this podcast. I'm hoping that people will listen to what you're talking about, implement, go make like 100 grand and be like, hey, Ryan, you want some of that? Because you helped me by having Ryan Fenn on the show. I'm like, heck yeah, let's do it. So I try to lead with value. And one of my clients, Chris, he was probably client number like 8 or 9 or something in the program 4 years ago. We were having this conversation. I'm like, dude, sounds like you got a lot of opportunity, dude. You're sitting on at least, 30, 40, 50 grand worth of deals. Let's just come up with a follow-up script. Let me help you close that to help kind of fund this thing. Yeah. Like, I think you're right. And so he went and did that. I can't remember the exact number, but it was something like $10,000 or $20,000 that he closed.
Yeah.
He could have gotten on his own. It's not like I did that, but he probably wouldn't have.
Right.
But that was the manual version of what you guys already have. You wouldn't even have to have those conversations.
Right. Yeah. And most of business is stuff we could do manually, but we won't. We're not going to do it.
So. If we were, we would have already done it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Dude, I love this stuff. I seriously, man, I'm just getting pissed at myself because you didn't exist when I had my business.
Well, that's why I'm here now.
All right. I'm starting a lighting business. If anyone wants to sell me your business, I'm buying it just so I can get CHIIRP.
Yeah, me and Ryan will do it together.
Yeah. Well, so I see you at all the shows. You got clients that are doing 100 grand a year. You got clients that are, I think, doing 100 million a year. I'm not exactly sure, but they're big companies.
Yeah, we have in the billions, I think. At least I know we're in the $500 million in some of our customers. Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah. So I want to ask you.
Yeah, some clients. Yeah, I mean, Tommy Mello's in the his valuation is like $500 million right now or more. Who knows? Yeah. But
it's insane. So you get to meet with these people, and there's different phases. Some people like 500 million, that's too big for them to dream. They're just trying to get to 1 million,
Yep.
And then the people that are 1 million are just trying to get to 2, and the ones that are 2 are just trying to get to 5. The ones that are 5 want to get to 10. We're always just trying to level up. And so I don't want to be like, everyone has to start a 9-figure business. Like,
right.
You don't need that. You can have a lot of money, a lot of freedom, a lot of awesome life with just, a few $1 million or whatever. Are there any trends that you've seen as you talk to them? Obviously, we're talking automation and stuff like that, but any trends that you've seen where these people are able to get unstuck from 3 to 700 grand to get to $1 million, or the ones that are $1 million to 2 to 5? Are there certain things that you pick up on when you meet with these businesses?
Yeah, definitely. I actually just did a podcast with Al Levy. If you don't know who Al Levy is, super good, super smart,
Awesome guy. Yeah.
dude. But he did this thing, and it really made sense to me because I every level in business, you get there and then you realize to get to the next level, what got you here is not going to get you there. There's like new things you have to do, habits you have to drop, new habits you have to create to get to the next level. And he did this exercise. He said, hey, put your arms out like this as far as you can, stretch as far as you can. That's as much as you can accomplish. That's all the business that you can do on your own as a solopreneur. That's it. And the next step is leadership. You're stepping into a leadership role. That's where things get really where you have to start to go, I'm stepping out of my contractor like mentality and into a business owner, entrepreneur mentality, which is now leadership. How do I get that person to do what I do? Right. And that's a different skill than putting up landscaping, right? Than doing land. It's a different, that's why a lot of contractors never really go beyond this, right? Because they're really good at contracting, not necessarily good at their business, right?
Yeah,
and building, scaling a business, right?
Yeah.
And so this kind of goes outside of automation, but I just thought of it because of the conversation that I had with Al Levy. But and again, go back to Tommy Mello. He was coaching Tommy Mello, and he was explaining the difference between dumping and delegating. And delegating is an actual skill of explaining in a way to a person what needs to happen and what outcome needs to happen, and inspiring them in a way to actually do the thing that you need them to do. Rather, people think they're delegating by going to the person and going, hey, get this done. and that's dumping. And you're really not actually, it's an actual process. So as you start to get into, and I'll go into some automation ideas as you scale, but I wanted to just put that out there because it was really insightful to me as far as moving into leadership roles and doing this, and building systems can help you do that. Because one of the biggest problems that you as an owner face is stepping away from the day-to-day work and building your business. It's like so hard to do. That gap is so big where you're like, dude, okay, I can show up and I can put my bags on or whatever. That's what my dad said because he was a builder. He's like, I could show up and put on my bags and make money. And I always did that. Or I could take them off and then lose money for a little while I figured out how to get these guys to do what I was doing. And then it would dip in and come back, right? And he could never get past that dip. He'd always go back to putting his bags on. And that's a really hard gap. And so you have to have the system, you have to have the mentality of building systems young now, so that as you do get older and you get bigger, you're able to more naturally step away because you've got systems working for you. If you're always doing the follow-up and all the sales and everything all at once, as you grow, it's just going to get worse and worse. The problem's going to get harder and harder to step away from. So you need to adopt a systems mentality now, instead of going, hey, when I get to 3 million, then I will do the things. I'll start implementing those things. It's pretty hard to do it. It's hard to do it retroactively, right? And so if you can come up with these ways to start automating the follow-up, starting to get away from the sales side, automating the lead conversion, all of that. And that's one way of doing it. Learning to talk with your sales guys so that they can do the things that you're doing now, and learn to delegate that so that you can scale. One of the things I talk about when you scale I call it scaling authenticity. This is really important to me, and I've kind of like hounded this point. When you're young and small, it's easy to be authentic and it's easy to have relationships with your customers. You already said it. They're like, oh, we really liked you, but you're too expensive. They liked you because you're the owner. You showed up, and it's easy to sell when you're the owner because you're way more passionate than anybody, right?
Mhm.
And like as an HVAC guy, people will be like, oh, that's my HVAC guy. That's my HVAC guy. But the moment you scale and get leadership and become a leader and have people under you, now there's a layer between you and the customers that's only going to grow further and further apart. Imagine like somebody like Tommy Mello, who's like 50 layers away from his actual customers, right? It's really hard for him to take what he did as a struggling technician out selling, where he was out there being the guy, and do that on a big scale. You become cold and corporate, right? And so what I tell people to do is we now have the ability with phones and with automation to scale our authenticity, scale our small town, down home, mom and pop feel at a big level. We do that by creating videos of ourselves. So, for example, let's say somebody books with you. You're not going to pick up every time and be like, hey, this is Ryan. Thank you so much for booking with me. I really appreciate it. Just want to let you know we're excited to offer you 5-star service. Looking forward to giving you an excellent experience. Thank you. And then you can't do that every time when you get big. But what you can do is you can record that. You can say, hey, it's Ryan. Thank you so much for booking. We're a family-owned business. This is my wife and my kids. We've been in business since 2000 whatever, and we look forward to offering you 5-star service. I'm here available if my technician doesn't offer you just excellent service, I want to know personally, please reach out. And now I can send that in a text message automatically when somebody books to 100 people, 1,000 people, 5,000 people. And I'm creating that same emotion as if I was picking up the phone and calling
So good.
all 5,000 people. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. It's one to many, but it's literally that personal connection. Like, wow.
Yep.
Like if they think about it, they might be like, that's pretty cool. Automation technology. It's probably not him sending me a message, but most people aren't in that. They're just like, that's cool. We just got a message from him. He's the owner.
And subconsciously hearing the voice and seeing it, they're still getting that same emotional reaction that we're trying to get.
Yeah. Dude, I love everything you just said. I was thinking about like what you said about your dad, and it happens to a lot of entrepreneurs where it's like, okay, I heard Ryan, he was telling me about leadership, and I'm not going to dump anymore. I'm going to delegate. Here we go. And I'm going to put some systems into place and things, and systems are going to make it easier, but there's still that transition. There's still that gap. And I thought about the book, the stories about 3 feet from gold. Like a lot of these people, they're like, okay, I'm going to do this. And they start down the path. They start, going over the gap, going through the trenches. They get so close and they're like, this is hard. I'm just going to go back. It's just easier to do it myself. And in that moment, it is easier to do it yourself. It truly is. It's easier to not.
Oh yeah.
Start with CHIIRP. It's easier to just not start a business. You know what I mean? Like just work for someone else. But if it is your dream, if you want to get it done, like push through that trench, because you get to the other side. Now you have those automations, you have those systems in place. Think about like what you guys provide. Back to before, when I had my business, I literally was harping my sales guy, hey, why didn't you follow up? Did you put it in your calendar? Did you remember to call him? Did you send him that voicemail? Did you make the video? We were doing a lot of this stuff, but it was manual. And like, that's a lot of expectation for a sales guy who doesn't have equity in the company. It's easy for me to say it, but you guys just make it so much easier for us to have those expectations for people. So I say it's like sales guys. I want the hungry sales guy that wants to close, but naturally those guys don't like follow-up. That's just the way it is. Yep.
It's like, and instead of trying to, it's like trying to change somebody's personality. It's like not going to happen. Right. And so it's like, why force them to do something they don't want to do? Let's build up what they're really good at and make sure they always have opportunities to close. And let's let automation do the thing they hate doing. And now I have a happier sales guy who's more motivated, and I have this happening that's just automatic, and I don't have to get in fights with them all the time. It's not his natural owner to a sales guy. The owner never feels like the sales guy's doing enough. The sales guy always feels like he's doing too much. And it's like, and so if you can kind of harbor this, like, hey, we're gonna cease fire. we're gonna pull the follow up off of your plate, and you just focus over here, and you'll get happier guys. Because how happy is a sales guy when an automation sends out a text and the guy responds, hey, yeah, I am ready. It's like a new hot lead just came through, and he's like, oh, sweet, like, so.
Yeah. A robot, an automation, a CHIIRP automation closing deals for people. And then they come in like, Hey, boss, just closed another one.
Yep. And you're like, yeah. The marketing closed it, but yeah, we'll let you have it.
Well, Ryan, I appreciate you coming on, man. We're doing some things internally with Landscape Lighting Secrets. I think it's next week. We're doing we're putting together some custom automations for our members. You guys are generous to hook up our members with a cool little deal or whatever. But
yeah,
for those that want to reach out and find more information about CHIIRP, follow you, your story, what you guys are doing, how do they stay connected?
So you can go to CHIIRP.com. Don't forget there's 2 I's, CHIIRP.com. You can email me directly, Ryan@CHIIRP.com. There's another Ryan, believe it or not, Ryan Peterson. So we got Ryan Lee, Ryan Fenn, Ryan Peterson. Ryan Peterson and Ryan Lee have been working out a special deal for your people, right?
That's right.
So if you want to email Ryan, you can book a demo at CHIIRP. That's fine. But if you want to connect with Ryan Peterson and get in on the special deal, shoot him an email. And I want to say his email. I want to verify it before I say it, though. Let me just make sure, because I think it's Ryan. Yeah, it's rpeterson@chirp.com. So rpeterson@chirp.com with an O. Peterson with an O. And then, of course, this is all hard stuff, but if you forget any of this, just go to CHIIRP and book a demo and say you're with Lighting for Profits. You're with Ryan Lee, and we'll hook you up. But that just makes it a little easier. So we're doing some cool stuff. We want to have some pre-built campaigns, stuff ready to go for you guys. We work closely with you as a client, so we make sure that you're getting like all of our pre-built stuff that you can tweak and adjust, helping you set it up so the automations are there. We don't ever like to just go, hey, here's your software, good luck. Want to make sure you're actually getting, an ROI from it. So reach out, do a demo, check it out, and we'll go from there.
Okay, love it, man. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Ryan. Have a great one.
All right, guys, everyone have an awesome week. And just become the architect of your business. Be intentional. Go get after it. Get some automations in place. Reach out to CHIIRP. Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate you, brother.
You got it. Have a good one, man. See ya.